It takes all kinds, let me tell you, man. Some guys love their cars, even though they buy it with a blown engine.
Nick's garage is always full of great things, projects as varied as the owners who bring them to the shop. This time of year, Nick and his crew were busy building and testing engines. The place is known far and wide for the American muscle that comes back to life here.
I got Mike's 440, which is stroked out to about 500 cubic inch here on this stroker 440. We have a set of trick flow heads. I've got the camshaft into the block. It's a roller cam going with this one. I've got his rockers, and of course I can't wait to get it put together. It's been here for a while. We're not in a rush with this one, and I want to put on the dyno to make some tests. And we're hoping for way over 600 horsepower on this one. Actually, he's looking for torque, and it's a 66 Satellite 4-speed car. And we're going to do our best to see how it goes. And hopefully by Christmas we have it running on the dynamometer. Mike, let's see how it goes. And I had a client of mine that went 320 miles to go see a 72 Duster that he wanted to buy. It was a 344 speed car that he went to see. And eventually he met the seller, and then he took the car for a ride. And as he took it for a ride, he was just revving the engine roughly 2,000, 2,500. And all of a sudden it went bang. When an engine noise, the motor seized, they got stopped on the street. So of course the seller says something happened to the engine. So what they did is, what my client did is that he offered him a lot cheaper price to buy from what they were selling it for. Then eventually still bought the car. He put on a flatbed, brought it all the way back to Montreal. He brought it to my shop. We took out the engine, we took it all apart, and this is what we've got. Now, unfortunately, we only have 6 good pistons here with the connector rods. And what we have to look into is getting him another block, and of course another crankshaft, and of course 2 more rods, and of course another 8 set of pistons. Hey, come and take a look at the block. Here's the one of the pistons right here. It's jammed in there, I can't get it out. I don't need to, because we're going to scrap the whole thing because of a crack that's right over here on the block, right where the main bearing sits. So we're not going to use this block at all. So we're going to have to find him another block, and of course another crankshaft. The crankshaft was demolished. I don't have it here. I sent it out to have it checked to see if they could be repaired, but they told me, Nick, it's way gone, scrap. And let me show you now the other piston. Here it is. This is the way we took it out, in pieces. And we found all these pieces in the oil pan. And of course, this is way gone. So right now what I have to look for is another crank, another crankshaft, another block, and of course we're going to put 8 new pistons, and I got to find 2 more connector rods. And after that we're going to start building it here during the holidays. From what I see, I'm sure it spun a bearing on cylinder number 1, which was the first journal, and then again it must have made a big racket before it broke, because look, this is the way we found these pieces in the oil pan, all in pieces. Very strange. Very strange. And of course, you know, it's got the original forged connector rods from Chrysler, which are the, I believe the 345 castings, which are pretty good. And of course, they're busted. And fortunately, it was not a matching motor to the car. So lucky for him, it was just any other 340. So now we're going to locate him another block, and of course, putting it all together and get it running for him for the summertime. It's rare that you have somebody go to road test a car, and then he's driving it, and then something breaks, like the motor seizes, and then eventually still buys the car. I guess the seller dropped the price on the vehicle for quite a bit, and then of course the buyer still bought it, and he still had to pay towing to bring it all the way to Montreal, just over 300 miles. So I guess my client really loved this car. It's a 4-speed Duster, 72. It takes all kinds, let me tell you, man. Some guys love their cars, even though they buy it with a blown engine. What I've got here is supposedly a 427. Another client of mine that just brought it in here. He wants me to look at it because apparently this was rebuilt about 4 years ago, never ran, and he wants to make sure it's good. He doesn't know what he has in there, so he's brought it here for me to take it apart, take a look, have it sonic tested on the cylinders, and see what it's all about. Put it all back together, and of course he wants me to run it on the dynamometer and see how it goes.
Nick has worked with plenty of triple-double carbs on Mopar 440s, but the carbs that came on top of the big Ford are raising some questions for him.
My buddy Manny here is a Ford guy, and so I've asked Manny here to help me out with this one because I just don't know what this customer has.
Well, the only Ford that I know that came with a 6-barrel is the Thunderbird back in 62, 63.
Okay.
But they had Hollies. It was triple Hollies. So it's like you're talking a 6-barrel Thunderbird, the M code.
So Rochester
isn't it? No.
So Rochester never existed on a Ford.
Not that I know of.
Okay, so I better get back to my client to tell him that before I rebuild these, for any reason, they're not right for his application. And of course,
Rebuilt, yeah.
they're not rebuilt.
Maybe once upon a time.
Yeah, maybe years ago. And they painted him gold for detailing.
Well, it's for show, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these don't belong there.
I know. I have somebody who
Not
can
that I
store them for him, but then again, they're not right for his application.
The intake itself.
Come and see it. It's on the engine.
Let's go take a look at the intake.
Let's go.
Nick, this is a conversion.
It is, eh?
This is an aftermarket.
Of course, made by Edelbrock.
Yeah, this is an aftermarket. This isn't even the M code.
And you know what I noticed? That the 4 base holes on the Rochester were drilled out on the front 2 on each carburetor.
Yeah.
Which weren't exactly fit for Rochester.
It's a conversion to Rochester.
So this is...
Yeah,
so
this is aftermarket.
Aftermarket is
Yeah.
custom work
and
also.
that's why they put Rochesters on it, because
Okay.
obviously availability back then. And
Alright.
the intake, it's not a Ford intake. Yes, it fits a Ford, but it's Edelbrock.
I'm gonna have to give him the bad news that it's not right. I don't know, but I know Ford in 427 Wedge had a 2 Holly setup in '67
right.
on
That's
a
right.
Fairlane GT.
They did. That's why most of the big blocks had either the twin 4 barrels or a single 4, and some of the trucks had 2 barrels. But that's pretty much it.
Okay, so now let's see if this thing is a real 427.
Okay.
So Vasily, tear it apart. Take it apart, buddy. Okay, let's see. What do we got here?
And a shout out to all my Australian buddies. I'm sure they understand who Holden is. And it comes from a cousin of mine from Australia, Sydney. He sent me a sweatshirt to keep me warm in the winter.
Hello to everybody from down under. A lot of viewers don't like it when I work manually.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah, but you know what? I understand. It's nowadays we're in the 21st century. Why you're using muscle? You know what kills me? You got all these power tools to make you work a lot easier. Then at the end of the day, everybody wants to go to the gym and work out. Just come here and work out manually without the power tools. This is my gymnasium right here. Go ahead, man, rip them out. Hey, you see the freeze plugs? They're screwing.
it's marine, isn't it?
Marine, and it's a full bull main. Yeah, I'm just curious to see what it looks like inside.
Everything's new and dry. So for me, the engine was assembled for installation or whatever, but it probably sat for a while, and the guy just wants to make sure he's got what he's got. Which, if it hasn't thermal cycled, should be easy to take apart.
Okay, let's check the board, see what we've got. What was the bore on 427?
That's a good question.
It's on the file.
378 is the stroke.
4.230. Okay, we're looking for a bore. We're looking for a bore size of 4.230, and it's 30 over, so it should be 4.260. So let's take a look and see what we've got. I think it's 40 over.
How is off by 10?
I don't know. Look, 4.270. Okay, let's check another cylinder. I know we're just using this gauge as temporarily ballpark figures. This one I got 2.275. Look at that. So it's 40 over probably.
Could be. Clean up.
It's supposed to be 4.230.
If they did.
He told me it's 30 over, so it should be a 4.260. And they're not marked anywhere if it's a 40 over or a 30 over. Anyways, we're gonna end up taking out the 8 pistons because we need to make a sonic test. But before we go there, we gotta make sure it's a real 427. Then from there on, if it is what it is, we're gonna build this engine and then put it on the dyno. It looks like it's a 40 over. Maybe that's why he wants to sonic test it.
Yeah, they may have gone over.
Yeah, they've gone over 40 over. Okay, so Vasily, next time we're gonna end up taking out 8 pistons for now. So in the meantime, I got the bore. This is what he wanted to know. So I'm gonna tell the customer he's got 40 over pistons. So for now, let's stay there. Don't move until I contact the customer next week. I don't usually get marine engines to put for an automotive or for a car. But then again, a 427 is very rare. This is what my customer wants, is a 427. He wants me to identify that it's a real 427. And of course, he told me it was 30 over. From what I see here, we think like it's a 40 over. Now, is he gonna drive it hard or not? I do not know.
The marine engines, a lot of the times, were basically production motors that were enhanced. They were built a little stronger to handle all the impact when the propeller comes out of the water or what have you. So they built them a little stronger. Often you'll see that they have frost plugs that are screw-in, not pressed in, because they have to be drained all the time. So, you know, there's a good chance that it is a marine motor. The 4-bolt main, yes, it's enhanced, so there are possibilities that it is exactly that.
Who do we know that Chalet that worked back then
At the dealership?
at the factory that made so you call them?
You know what? I ran out of people.
We got a factory stroke of a 3.784, and let's see what we've got here. So we brought the piston top dead center, and we're 20 thou below the deck. So now we're gonna measure the stroke. This is just a quick way of doing it before we dismantle the engine. Just to see where we're gonna go with this. Here we go. Let me just be sure. Here we go. We got 3.815. I'm gonna write this down. So we got a minus 20 thou for the deck height.
Roughly, yeah.
Well, let's just say, I'm just doing a ballpark figure.
Yeah, it's basically, you know that you don't have a 428, because if it was a 428, it'd be a 3.980, almost a 4-inch stroke, which we don't have.
That's right.
So that dismisses that one.
So far, we're still on the 427.
We're still looking at a 427.
The only thing is, I wish, well, we're gonna take out the piston.
You measure it out.
Yeah, I need to know the compression height also on these pistons, which I don't have, doesn't matter. Anyways,
But you know where you're
we're
at.
in the 427 family from what I see. Okay, so we're gonna take it apart next week and we'll take it from there. So the stroke looks very close to it. The board seems 40 thou over factory. So you know what? We got a genuine 427 from what I see.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, it's good news for my client.
The Ford is well on its way to a winter reassembly and dyno test. Just one of the many interesting projects that Nick is trying to fit into his shop for the winter.
Perfect.
It's a constant challenge, juggling cars in a small shop and keeping everything moving. But it's what Nick does every day, because he knows that every car is special to someone. That's why they come to Nick's garage.
And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.